Hello, welcome back to my channel. So tonight I'm going to be showing you some gentle stretches for the neck and your upper body, and you can do most of these either sitting down if you don't want to stand up. You can do some of the arm stretches while standing up, but yeah, so for the most part these are very, very gentle stretches. You don't really need a lot of yoga experience to do them. It's just some feel-good stretches that you can do for after a workout, or if you are feeling a little bit tight when you wake up or before you go to bed. These are perfect for that. So the first one we're going to do is for the upper trapezius area, or like behind the neck. So traps in the neck is where you're going to feel this. And you can start right here. What you do is we're going to start on the left side. So take your left hand and bring it over to the side of your head. And gently push with your hand into your head and push your head into your hand. So hand into head and head into hand, creating a little bit of friction so that you can feel the stretch. And I like to sometimes kind of bring my neck forward just a little bit, just to deepen the stretch a little bit further. And that can definitely help if you're feeling tight in your neck. And when I'm doing stretches, I don't like to count seconds. I like to count breaths. So we will take nice long deep breaths here. We'll take about 3 or 4. Once you get to 4 max breaths, go ahead and let your head hang. Hello, Frederick. Let your head hang with your chin at your chest, and that really gets rid of a lot of tension in the back of your neck when you just kind of let your head hang like this. We'll roll our head over to the right side, bring that right hand up, and repeat that trap stretch on the right side. You can fold it back or you can fold it forward just a little bit, depending on where you're feeling a lot of tension. And again, we'll take 4 breaths here, 3 or 4. Wherever you can hold till. And gently release your neck, or your head, not your neck. And you can kind of roll your head around. It relieves any extra tension that you may have gotten while holding onto your head. I'm going to scoot back just a little bit. The next stretch that we're going to be doing is going to be a crossbody shoulder stretch. So this is a pretty basic stretch. Most people know how to do it. You just bring I'm starting with my right arm, your right arm across your chest, and kind of hold on to it with your left arm, making sure that you feel it all throughout your biceps and your triceps and your shoulder. Let's take 5 breaths here. I sometimes like to roll my wrists out when I do these gentle stretches. Being a yoga teacher, I teach yoga every single day, so I feel a lot of pressure in my wrists. If you are working a desk job and you're typing and you're writing a lot, then doing these little wrist rounds will definitely help you out too. Go ahead and release on that exhale. You can clasp your hands together and stretch them out behind you. And then we'll bring the left arm over across the chest, latching that left arm. Go ahead and release. And you can go ahead and do that clasped hand stretch again. Just until you feel comfortable. Next, we're gonna do a seated shoulder pull. So, over the head shoulder stretch is what we're gonna do, sorry. So with that, again, it's a very basic one. We'll go ahead and fold. I'm starting with my left arm this time. Fold our left arm over, reaching onto, or not reaching, but just gently on the back, resting it gently on the back. Bringing the right hand up and holding onto the elbow, thus stretching the shoulder and the triceps. And again, we'll take 4 or 5 breaths here, wherever you feel the most comfortable. If you're tired of deep breathing, then maybe only take 4 breaths. Go ahead and release. If your back's feeling a little tight, you can go ahead and do some twists. We'll go ahead and reach the right arm over this time, resting that on the back or on the traps area. Grabbing onto the elbow with the left arm. Stretching out those triceps. All right, so the next one that we're going to be doing is the seated shoulder pull, and we'll go ahead and start with my left arm. So you fold your arms behind your back, grab on to your wrist wherever you can. I've got my watch on, so I'm grabbing a little bit above my watch, and then you pull backwards. And this stretches the shoulders. We'll take 3 or 4 breaths here. We'll go ahead and bring our arms forward, wrap them around our chest. Go ahead and give yourself a little bit of a hug. Release any tension that you have from your shoulders. A little bit of yin yang here. You want to release the energy that you just gave. We'll go ahead and grab onto the right arm this time and stretch out the shoulders that way. I don't know why this feels a little bit more awkward for me than the other side, but go ahead and find a spot that's comfortable for you, and we'll stretch here for 5 breaths, 4 or 5 breaths. Go ahead and release, roll your wrists out, and give yourself another hug. Release that tension, and then we'll come up onto our hands and knees, coming into a tabletop position. I am a very big fan of cat-cows, so I like to include these in almost every sequence that I have, whether it just be stretching or actual class sequences. So I like to explain cat-cows as opening up on an inhale into cow and closing yourself off on an exhale, coming into cat. So we'll do a couple rounds of cat-cows and take a nice big inhale, roll your shoulders back, arch your spine in, kind of round with the natural arch of the spine into the ground almost. You want your tailbone to kind of tuck up high, and then chest is open, heart open, open neck, and then you keep your gaze upward and take a little breath here. And on that exhale, round your back up, closing yourself off, letting your head hang, rounding the back upwards and pushing the ground away from you. You also want to keep your core nice and tight here. I sometimes push even more so into the ground, so pushing my fingertips into the ground to get a deeper stretch in the spine. Sometimes that feels good, sometimes that doesn't, so if that works for you, great. If it doesn't, cool. Just go back to the normal cat pose. We'll go ahead and take an inhale, opening up into cow. And exhale, rounding the back upwards, back into cat. I like to describe this pose to the kids I teach as like an angry cat on Halloween. It's a fun way to describe it. So like a scared cat or an angry cat, arch your back as high up as you can. Get a nice, good deep stretch there. Go ahead and take an inhale, and we'll find ourselves on our sit bones. So it's the little bones in our butt that we sit on. And we'll come into Dandasana, or staff pose. Now we're gonna modify this pose, so if you can sit up in a full Dandasana, that is great. You can sit up against a couch, or you can bring your hands behind you and give your back a little bit of a rest. I like to bring my shoulder blades together in a modified staff pose, and that provides like a little bit of a chair for me almost. And then you want your body to be at an angle, so like a big obtuse angle. You want to fold your feet back, so flex your feet back, that's the proper word. And that'll stretch the calves and the hamstrings. And we're going to take some deep breaths here. As always, I focus everything around my breath. And once you get to 5 breaths, you can go ahead and bring your feet together in for Shavasana, or easy pose. We're going to swing our feet around just gently. And the next pose that we're going to do looks a little funny. I know this. A lot of yoga poses look very funny, but they feel very relieving. So I often describe this as if child's pose and downward facing dog had a baby, this would be their little baby pose. So this is puppy pose, and you want your knees on the ground. We'll extend our arms out as if we're going into an extended child's pose. So you can rest your torso on your quads for now, and then we'll raise our hips up towards the sky. And if this is uncomfortable for you, you can use a bolster. Hi, Frederick. Hi. You can use a bolster underneath your belly, but once you're comfortable in this pose, you want your chest on the ground and your belly should be resting against your legs or close to. So there should be a little bit of a space in between your chest and your legs or your knees here. That's where you can put a bolster to kind of make yourself a little bit more comfortable in this pose. And we'll sit here for 5 breaths. If you want to get a deeper stretch in your shoulders here, what you can do is you can bring your hands together in a prayer position, and you can either rest your head on a block or you can come up onto a flat surface, like my couch, for instance, and act as if you are going back into puppy pose. You can sit with your tailbone as high as I had it right now, and drop your head low, and this will provide a deeper stretch in the shoulders, but it's essentially the same pose. So once we're done with puppy pose, take our 5 breaths in puppy pose, we'll go ahead and come onto our backs. Now, we're gonna come into cactus arms, and for cactus arms, you essentially just lay on the ground with your hands like this, like a cactus. So we will come onto our backs and sit with our knees folded in cactus pose and just breathe. If this is a little too uncomfortable for you, you can come into Shavasana or corpse pose, which tends to be everybody's favorite pose in a yoga class because of how comfortable it is. This is typically the ending pose in any yoga class. Every yoga class that I've taken, we've laid in Shavasana for 10 minutes to unwind after the sequence that we had done prior. So this is a very good relaxing sequence, very good, or not sequence, but pose. It's a very good relaxing asana, very good to help you kind of slow the heart rate and allow your body to fully relax, which is why it's called corpse pose. And we'll take about 5 breaths here. And once you're ready, if you even want to get up. So when you're ready to come back up, in yoga we like to bow our heads and say namaste to seal the practice. Namaste basically just means I see and honor the light in you, and that's coming from the light in me, which is a very awkward way to say it, but it works. And then that is the little stretch sequence that I have for you tonight. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me on my channel. I really do appreciate it. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you would like to see more, and if you would like to get in contact with me about taking my yoga classes, they are all online. I teach through Zoom, so if you have Zoom available, we can definitely get you signed up for my classes if you're interested. You can shoot me a message on Facebook under KH Fit, or Instagram, which would be either Hey Heller, Hay Heller, or at _ KH _fit_. So thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I hope you enjoyed my little stretch sequence, and have a good night. Thank you for hanging out with me.